Good evening, members of the council. Can I invite members to join me in saying the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Please be seated. This meeting is being live streamed on the internet and recorded for future viewing. Photographs may also be taken during the meeting. Could everyone please ensure, though, that the mobile devices are either switched off or turned to silent? Election of the Mayor for the 2024-2025 municipal year. I call for nominations.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Councillor Hilary Bills.
Do we have a seconder? Does any other member wish to speak on the nomination? And are there any other nominations? I hereby declare that Councillor Hilary Bills has been elected as Mayor of the Borough for 2024-2025.
Madam Mayor, may I ask you to make and subscribe to the Declaration of Acceptance of Office?
I, Hilary Bills, having been elected to the office of Mayor of Dudley Metropolitan Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to comply with the Members' Code of Conduct in performance of my functions. I better sign it, didn't I? Oops. There we go.
Many congratulations, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Well, it took me long enough, didn't it, to get here, so... I'm very aware that we've got 21 councillors in this chamber who haven't got a clue what's happening tonight. And it does take some getting used to. So I will continually remind you of what's happening and I'll always guide you. Okay, I'll do my best. So the next thing I have to do is to look for nominations for the Deputy Mayor for the year 2024-25. I call for nominations.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, I nominate Councillor Peatley.
Thank you very much. Seconded by?
Formally seconded.
Thank you. Any other nominations? I hereby declare that Councillor Peatley is the Deputy Mayor for the year 2024-2025.
I call on Councillor Peter Lee to make and subscribe to the Declaration of Acceptance of the Office of Deputy Mayor.
I, Peter John Lee, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of Dudley Metropolitan Borough Council, declare that I take office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to comply with the members' conduct in the performance of my functions.
Congratulations, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you.
And So this is where we have an adjournment. Just to say that I'm obviously not dressed to be the mayor at the moment. Everything that I need, my robes and insignia, are now on my colleague, Councillor Andrea Goddard. So what's going to happen is we're going to leave the council chamber. We're going to go into committee room 2, where we will exchange clothing and have our official photographs taken, and then we will come back into here. I wouldn't leave the council chamber. It doesn't take very long. It'll be about 10 minutes. Thank you very much, members. Please be seated, everybody. Thank you. Okay. Right, colleagues. For those of you who haven't quite understood what's going on, we're now on agenda item 5. I received apologies from Councillor Ethan Stafford. Are there any other apologies?
There appear to be none, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I move, again, I'm trying to guide you through it. Agenda item 6, we're looking at the minutes. I move the minutes of the meeting held on the 15th of April 2024 be approved as a correct record and... Oh, I beg your pardon. I've missed the most important part, haven't I? I thought it was coming next. Sorry, I've got it. Sorry, I do apologise. I thought I got it well organised and I hadn't. Well, we come to that part of the meeting when we say thank you to everyone. And I'm going to start off, first of all, to do 2 lots of thanks that I've never ever had the opportunity to do. As some of you will know, in 2019, I did not become the mayor, so I never had the opportunity to say to Councillor Taylor, who was my mayor and I was his deputy, thank you very much, Councillor Taylor. John and I had a wonderful time, 2 Hales-Owen families out on the town. It was wonderful, was it not? And I appreciate everything that you did. You involved me and John, and I never had the opportunity to tell you public how grateful I am. The second thanks goes to Councillor David Stanley. He and I spent 2 years together because of COVID. We had, I think the best thing to say, an interesting 2 years, did we not, Councillor Stanley? We ended up having COVID injections together, and when all of the rest of you were sitting at home all nice and cosy and warm, the Chief Exec, Councillor Stanley and I, we would be here and we'd all do it on Teams. It was an interesting time, and sometimes my computer particularly upset everybody, and I would sit in this totally empty building upstairs away from you all because of the troubles. But I have to say, Councillor Stanley and I, we worked together really well. He grew the tomatoes and I made the chutney, did I not, Councillor Stanley? So I'd like to thank you really very much for doing that, and thank you for your partnership and friendship. Right. We now move on to a rather nice part. I'm just going to come a little bit too forward. I need to tell you that Councillor Goddard and I actually go back a very long way. Her father was my consort, better known as my husband's best friend in 1970 when I met John. And Pete was part of our family for many years. I went to the wedding. I remember when you were born. The years at the Why Not Inn, yes? And I'm not going to say it, I'm going to say it once, otherwise we're both going to burst into tears. But what Pete would be thinking now, watching you and me together, I don't know. Be magic, wouldn't it? Anyway, I'd now like to call on Councillor Harley, the leader of the council, and then Councillor Lowe, if they wish to say anything about the retiring. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and congratulations to yourself on completing that very, very long apprenticeship. Well deserved. Madam Mayor, I think looking at both former Mayor, Councillor Andrea Goddard, and her consort, Councillor James Clinton, I don't think we've ever seen before such a duo. I'd liken them to Dempsey and Makepeace, if you can remember that programme of a certain age. But I think we'll just call them the dynamic duo. I think every mayoral event, every time they attended somewhere, every charitable event, every single mayoral event over the last municipal year certainly has been livened up with the presence of both James and, of course, Councillor Goddard, who I think has been an outstanding mayor. And we say this every year. Both leaders get up every year and we praise to the hilt those people who are put forward by the respective groups and they grow into that role and they do it absolute justice. And they are a real credit and pride to this borough. And they are the first citizen of this borough when they take that seat. And there is a duty there, and there's a heavy responsibility, and I think that Andrea has wore that responsibility absolutely brilliantly and has been a really good mayor. The serious side, there is one person here who isn't here who would have beamed with joy at what she's done the last 12 months. A dear friend to all in this chamber, including myself, but I'll hold it together because you know who I'm talking about. But he would have beamed with pride. He never wanted to be mayor himself, so he didn't want any of that fuss and palaver. But he would have absolutely been with pride at the way you have handled yourself this last 12 months. You've chaired council meetings with a strictness, with firmness, that I fully expect your successor to certainly be, being a former head teacher. But you have done it with a sense of humour as well. And when there have been some sticky moments in the chamber, you've got through with your sense of humour. And it is that sense of humour that I think a lot of people warm to you for. Sometimes it can get you into trouble, particularly on those backbenches when a whole load of people start giggling. You've done it in shadow cabinet and had everyone giggling. You've done it at group meetings. You've done it in here. You've even done it when you've been sitting in the mayoral chair, and I've been looking there, and I've been trying hard not to burst out into fits of giggles, looking at what you're doing. So I think people will remember your mayoral year one for the way you've been fully committed to your charities and to the people of this borough and to this council itself. Because when you are there, you are not a Labour mayor, you are not a Conservative mayor, you are our mayor. You represent all the 71 other councillors in this room, the officers and the communities around our borough. And Andrea, you have done it with great distinction. And on this side of the chamber, I'm sure around the chamber, we are all extremely proud of what you've done this last 12 months. And on behalf of everybody, thank you.
Councillor Lowe.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. And can I first start my brief contribution just by saying what a great pleasure and a privilege is to see you finally sitting in that seat to preside over us for the next year. And I think as Patrick Harley outlined when discussing Andrea's term of office with regard to the words strictness, I have a feeling that we ain't seen nothing yet. There's many new councillors in this chamber. Many of you will be just like I was almost 20 years ago when I had mixed feelings about actually what a mayoral role was. What was the use? What was the point of actually having a first citizen of this borough? It seems quite arcane and outdated. I know that Paul Bradley himself, many years ago, having this discussion about how he went on the same journey as myself of over years, being converted and convinced about the important role of the first citizen, the royal representative within this borough. And Andrea's undertaken that role in the last 12 months with the thousands of pounds that she's raised for charity, in the spirit that many of us know Andrew before she took the mayor, with the robustness, with the eagerness and with the directness in order to raise the profiles of those charities and indeed do it in a way that is both traditional yet doing it in an untraditional manner. And then we look at the role within the council chamber, and while Patrick Harley talks about the giggles, I think many on us on our side have done, certainly not giggled on occasions with Andrew and how she's presided over the council meetings. I don't think we've ever had a mayor who's got through as many motions in 30 minutes and been quite direct in making sure that the council business is undertaken, and I thank you for that. I think the role that you've undertaken, we've seen the way that you've approached that. I certainly enjoyed how much both yourself and your consort were enjoying yourself at the Mayor's Ball a few weeks ago. And I think the only way that I would finish by saying this, and I'm sorry to raise it in this manner, and hopefully it's not too emotional, but the leader of the council mentioned it, in that nobody would have been prouder than Dave Vickers of seeing the role and the distinction that Andrew has undertaken this. Nobody would have been able to do more and be prouder of the way that she's undertaken that. And for that, on behalf of everybody within this council chamber, for the service that you've given this authority for the last 12 months, I thank you.
I now intend to present with your. Oh, sorry, folks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you.
I'm going to invite Councillor Goddard to say a few words for us.
When I was nominated for mayor, I was in my 10th year and genuinely didn't believe I was deserving to take on this role. And being the youngest serving female mayor was quite a shock to many. I know we've had quite a few male mayors in their 40s, but never a female. I've loved every minute being the first citizen of the borough. It's been a real privilege and a real honour. From almost conquering my fear of heights, abseiling with the kids from Dudley College, who, along with these lecturers, their lecturers, are an absolute credit to the borough. And meeting with many vulnerable groups to hear their views, and even a mammoth amount of borough-wide casework, of which officers will be glad to see me go. It has honestly been truly amazing. People have said to me, what is your highlight of your term? And I can't honestly give one single occasion. However, the many volunteers in Dudley that I have met have restored my faith in humanity. And this was seriously lacking at the time within me. They are the bedrock of our society, and I can't thank them enough for what they do. I've laughed with these people, I've sobbed with these people, to the point, if I hadn't already gone through the menopause, everybody would have thought I was probably a hormonal wreck. But lastly, I want to thank my consort, Councillor James Clinton, for his continued support. It's a lot of hours, and he gave them up just for me and the borough, and for that I'm eternally grateful. Thank you. And the mayoral team, Kappa, without you lot, a lot of events and engagements would not have come to pass. And I want to pay special tribute as well to Phil Parker. This is his last annual council, as he's leaving us in a couple of weeks. He's done an amazing job, and he's going to be missed by a lot of us in this room, I'm sure. Thanks for all the support that you've given me. It's been invaluable. So I wish you well on your journey. Then, well, what can I say about this gentleman, Martin Cox? He's been a wealth of information. He's a great person to lean on, and has dealt with many a drama in the mayoral car, mainly when I've wanted to kick the consort out. But that's another story. No, he's amazing at what he does, and he's been, yeah, a true champ and great to work with. But I really want to say a big thank you to my children, because they've gone a year without seeing me hardly at all. They're young, the youngest is 14, and they found it difficult at times, but without their support, love and understanding, I wouldn't still be here. And they have encouraged me every single step of the way. So big thank you to them. And I hope to be an advocate for all the charities that I've raised money and awareness for over this past year, and hope to continue to support them. So on ending, I wish Madam Mayor, Councillor Hilary Bills, a most successful term, and look forward to supporting her with her charities this year.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Goddard. I now call on Councillor Clinton to have his award. Congratulations on your success. Right, back to agenda item 5. Right, apologies for absence, we've heard those. So I'll go on to number 6, which is the minutes. So I move that the minutes of the meeting held on the 15th of April 2024 be approved as a correct record and signed. Does the council agree? Thank you very much. We're now on to my announcements. Surprise, surprise, my husband John will be my consort. My joke about, I've called him many other names, but never called him a consort before. Well, I did that for 3 years as deputy mayor, so I'll have to think of a new one, won't I? And the deputy mayor will continue to be Mrs. Gloria Lee. And I hope you and Peter have a wonderful year as well. My charities are going to be, first of all, Diabetes UK. Some of you will know that my husband John has been an insulin-dependent diabetic since 1999. He developed it late in life. It changed how our lives go because you have to plan everything. So I really want the money that we're going to raise to go to young people who've got diabetes, because it does restrict you in all the things that you do. Secondly, Access in Dudley. I've worked with Access in Dudley for many years. Some of you will know that if you want a public right of way sorting out, or you want something doing, you say the words Tina Boothroyd. If you say Tina Boothroyd, it gets done. And it's a wonderful charity because it's people with disabilities who support others with disabilities. And who knows what it's like to have a disability other than those who have them. And the third one, well, for many years, I've dined out in this council chamber about the night 450 parents were outside there on the steps and said, you want a demonstration? Well, there you go. And that was because I was the chair of the Friends of Dudley School's music service for 7 years. I was a member for 14 years. I'm a huge supporter of the arts in school because it's something that has been squished out and it should not be. So, as I always say, if young people are going to orchestra and practicing, they're not doing things that they shouldn't be. And so I'm now going to have, for my third charity, to support the Friends of Dudley Performing Arts. I hope you'll be able to support me in that. I'm sure there'll be lots of concerts to go to. Right. We haven't got a date yet for the at-home event, but I take Councillor Goddard's lead, and I will be doing it for those people, the volunteers. And it's not the at-home, but it's going to be for those who volunteer. Armed Forces Day will be on the 30th of June. I always enjoy that day. I hope you're all going to come and join me. We haven't got a date yet for the Civic Sunday, but it will be notified in due course. I'm looking forward to this one. The Black Country Festival Music Com event will be held on the 13th and 14th of July at Himley Hall. And Councillor Mohammed Hanif would not let me go without reminding you all the Mayor's Charity Councillors versus Officers cricket match will be held at 6 p.m. on Friday the 26th of July at the Memorial Ground, Stourbridge. Yes. I sort of pray for rain, but never mind. At this point, I would like to welcome, and I've said this before, I welcome all of the new councillors who are in this chamber. I hope you enjoy your time as much as I have. I've been here 12 years, and I've been in and out and had all sorts of positions, but there's nothing better than being able to support your community, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. There's 21 new ones, so I apologise if I don't look at the right place in the council chamber when I hear a name called. Enjoy your time. And as I've said before, I will do my best to help you through the procedures. Now, we come to the point, are there any declarations of interest under the Members' Code of Conduct? Okay, thank you very much. Agenda item 9, the election of the leader of the council. I call for nominations.
Firstly, many congratulations, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
I would like to nominate Councillor Patrick Harley.
Is it seconded?
Seconded, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any other nominations? In the absence of any other nominations, is it agreed? Councillor Harley is the leader of the council. Agreed? So I hereby declare that Councillor Patrick Harley has been elected as leader of the council in accordance with the provisions of the council's constitution. Agenda item 10, the appointment and membership of cabinet and committees for 2024-25 and related matters. I call on the leader.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, members of the council, I move, 1, that the recommendation in the report concerning the appointment, composition and membership of the cabinet, committees and related matters for 24-25, together with the details set out in the list circulated at the meeting, be approved and adopted. Secondly, Madam Mayor, that a report be submitted to the next meeting of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee on the Council's revised overview and scrutiny arrangements, including the terms of reference of the scrutiny/select committees. Thirdly, Madam Mayor, that the Director of Finance and Legal, in consultation with the Cabinet Member for Finance, Legal and Human Resources, be authorised to amend the budget to reflect the Democratic Services resources and special responsibility allowances arising from the revised structure of committees. And finally, Madam Mayor, that the monitoring officer be instructed to bring forward proposals for the designation of up to 10 member champions and to take the necessary action to commence a review of the members' allowances scheme, including the establishment of an independent remuneration panel pursuant to statutory requirements. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Is that seconded?
Yes, formally seconded, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Is that agreed? Thank you. That is carried. We now move to the agenda item 11, Constitution and Scheme of Delegation, and I call on the leader.
A little bit shorter this time. Madam Mayor, members of the council, I move that the recommendations in the report be approved and adopted. Thank you.
Is that seconded?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Does council agree? Thank you. That is carried. Agenda item 12, Programme of Meetings for 2024-25. I call on the leader.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I move 1, that the recommendation in the report and the programme of meetings as circulated this evening be approved and adopted. And 2, Madam Mayor, that the lead for law and governance, following consultation with the leader, opposition leader and committee chairs, as appropriate, be authorised to make any necessary amendments to the programme of meetings during the municipal year. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that seconded?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Does council agree? This is carried. Oh, sorry, Councillor Baton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had indicated on item 10, but I can probably get it in under this one as well. So thank you. I've just got a question around the deletion of the Climate Change Select Committee. We obviously declared a climate emergency in this council. And I'm just interested to understand the rationale behind the removal of that committee and how we are going to ensure that we are absolutely focused on reaching our 2030 goals.
More than happy to respond, Councillor Baton. I think with the financial issues that this and every other council faces, I think the formation of a Fit for the Future and looking at that new total operating model, I think takes precedence over everything. That doesn't mean that climate change takes a backseat. All the things that we were looking at there, and in particular that the Cabinet member was looking at, you won't thank me, but a lot of those duties will be absorbed by the Deputy Leader and others on that front bench. In fact, climate change probably touches every single directorate, every single Cabinet post, and indeed probably every single scrutiny chair. So we all have a part to play in making sure that we continue to evolve that climate change discussion. So it's not about just saying, well, we're not going to do it anymore. We are, but I think it has to be done in a more structured way, and we all have to share that responsibility and the workload in delivering that climate change.
Thank you. Is that satisfactory, Councillor Baton?
You know, I accept your rationale behind it, and I would be, you know, one to say that the Climate Change Select Committee perhaps didn't work as well as it could have done. But I do think all the chairs of all of the committees have to make sure that they do keep that at the forefront of of that agenda, because we have a duty to meet that 2030 aim.
It was nice to have unanimity in the end of that discussion. Thank you very much. Agenda item 13, the appointments and nominations to other bodies, outside bodies. I call on the leader.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, members of the Council, I move that the recommendations set out in the report be approved and adopted. Thank you.
That seconded?
Seconded, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Does the Council agree? You don't sound very excited about it, do you? Does Council agree? Aye. Thank you, that is carried. I'm delighted to say there is no urgent business, so that concludes the business of the annual meeting of the Council. Thank you for your attendance, and if you'd like, I'd invite you all back to the Mayor's Parlour if you want to carry on the conversation. Thank you very much.